All right. So
Okay.
this guy.
So you're going to be using salt to do that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm just struggling to know because I watched a little help video, but it doesn't help because they're not using salt.
Okay.
But
So
I'm trying to figure out what to like insert because I feel like I'm putting in what I'm supposed to be putting in, but it's not. Like,
well, I can see a mistake right now. If you look at the mu equals 150, mu just means the population mean. That's the symbol we use for that. And you've took 160.
we'll see.
Okay, so let's see what the rest is in case there's some other information I want to check. Now, you want to do less than or equal to 170. Do you see that in question A?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so go back to salt. And so the mean is 150, the standard deviation, make that, and the number underneath is the probability that it is less than, and the picture kind of shows you, the orange bit shows you that's what left of 170 looks like.
So always when it's less than, we're always looking at the left tail.
Correct. And when it is more than, you'll do a right tail.
So for, oh, let's do this.
Right, so go back to, well, that's your answer, right? So let's get that sorted out first.
And then 4, because I had a 5 right there. And so if we look instead at,
well, that's 130, right? Yes, let's do a greater than 134, right? So go back to salt.
134.
Make that 134.
134.
Oh, you may have to do it slightly different order. Hit the right tail. Now go back and change it to 134.
I think that's what I did earlier too, and that's when it changed everything else.
All right, so now you can see the shading as everything bigger than 134. That's a good verification. And so your answer will be that guy.
Yay. And so on the test, we will also have this, right? You said part of it,
Yeah.
I listened to your video and part of it was a PDF, and then is part of it on here?
And this one here, you don't need the PDF part. This part is all salt. So things change as the technology changes.
Okay.
So what was true in the previous quarter might not be quite the same. In a test here, there's really nothing you can do except be accurate when you type things in, right? Because you can't really show me working for this because it's all done inside salt.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
But so for the test, would we be, because I changed my classes around too, so I will actually be able to come to it.
Okay.
But so for the tests, if it's all on there, you said we will be sending in like a written part of it too, though,
yeah,
right?
The written, let's say, just for argument's sake, let's say there's 30 questions in your test, right? And some of them will be those questions where they, there's 4 answers and you pick the right answer with a circle, right? Those kind. I can't see working for that. I don't expect working. A big chunk of them are going to be use salt. So I won't see any working for that because it's all done in software. But there will be some questions like, what's the probability that it rains at least once out of 4? That kind of question. Now, to do that, you had to build a probability, you had to do a probability tree with a whole load of numbers in it and a whole load of multiplications and even sometimes some adding. Well, I don't just want to see the answer nothing 0.1234, because that's all you'll put into salt, right? The final answer.
Yeah.
In that question, can you see it's much more useful for me to see the working? Because if you screw up by just putting a 1.2 when you meant to put a 0.21 or something, I'm still able to give you partial credit because I will know that you've done 90% of the question correct, so I can give you 90% of the points. If you didn't have that ability to show me the working, can you see what's going to happen is if I just say, oh, well, you get nothing out of 10 for that question because you got the wrong answer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you got it wrong because you didn't know what you were doing, or you were 90% right and there's just a little bit in the middle that went wrong because you weren't careful.
Put in 160 instead of 150.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Like I just did.
Like I have done in my own life. So I know these things happen. So you go through those questions. I mean, if you are not sure, you can say to me, in question 18, do I need to show working? And I will say, yes, please. Or if you say in question 15, I might say, nope, whatever you write is the only thing I'm going to take. So be careful. Yeah. In SALT, you just have to be careful, right?
And so for the test, we'll be sitting like this, like basically what you and I are doing now, but I will just take the test so you can see that nothing's listening or nothing's happening like behind us.
Yeah.
But then when we are in the test and click to use SALT, it's gonna bump into another screen, but it's not gonna.
Well, I won't see that screen because I'll be watching you through the video.
Okay.
So that don't matter to me because you need to see SALT.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to see the questions as well. So it's not.
And would it be useful if we like screenshotted the SALT that we get and we can insert it into our answers somehow, like when we send you our answers?
That sounds like a lot of time-consuming work, and I'm not sure it would be that helpful. I can see what your question is specifically. So when I come to grade it, I just go in and I look at your working and I look at the question and I can see all of that. So you don't need to screenshot. I will know what the numbers are. I will know what whatever you've done is. So I don't need to see that. Think about the questions I want to see working for are those questions where you really did do working. You know, if you're writing something down on a piece of paper, that's probably one of the questions I want to see.
Yeah.
If you're writing anything down, that's not going to be a question that's going to be of any good to show me.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what you could show me because you're not writing in and that. Okay.
Yeah. And it's 4 hours or 3 hours, 1 through.
Yeah, but you don't need 3 hours, hopefully. It really should probably take you somewhere, just maybe, well, it depends on the person. Some people take 10 hours, but a typical student will probably be finished just over 2 hours. But the 3 hour thing is, you know, it's a comfort zone thing because, you know, sometimes you screw up on a question, you spend 20 minutes on it and you really start worrying about time because of that. Well, if you know you've got tons of time, then that won't matter. Don't do it to too many questions because then you will run out of time.
Yeah.
But, you know, 1 or 2 is not going to kill you. Plus, you also get time at the end to use Adobe Scan to take the picture of any of the working that you've done. It would be very useful if let's say it was questions 7, 9, and 14 were the 3 questions that you really showed me working for. It would be very helpful if you could make sure it was labeled very clearly 9, you know, whatever, and 14.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can do things like separate it with a line and then put the next ones. Because some people's working kind of goes round in snakes and not easy to see. So if you could label them, that would be great. But apart from that, I mean, if you don't, I'll figure it out. It just takes me longer to figure it out.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely very much for labeling things. But no, that's good. And then so 1 through, and we'll just be here over Zoom. That's good. And it's going to be chapters 1 through, or sorry, 2.
Whatever we're up to, what are we up to? We finish on, is it 8 or 9? What did we finish on?
So right now
we finish on 9.
Okay.
So you've got up to 9. And so that'll be chapters 2 to 9, and we don't do 4 or 1. So 2 to 9.
2 to 9. And then we can use our notes that we've taken through class, right?
Yep. Anything you can physically write down is good.
Yeah.
Yep. Things like that. All the homework that you've done will temporarily disappear.
Yeah.
And any videos and stuff I've got in Canvas will also disappear. So when you go to Canvas, the only thing you'll see in Canvas is one module, which is all about the midterm. It'll have the place where you upload your working, and probably the Zoom link in case you forget how you get into Zoom and whatever. But nothing really very useful.
Yeah.
But you make sure you write good notes. It's very helpful, especially if you know that you had trouble with something, that you make good notes on whatever it is. Now that you've figured out how to do it, it's still a good idea to have good notes.
Yeah.
Some people, for instance, do versions of questions. Off the top of my head, do you know one of those long tree diagram questions?
Yeah, like the one with the like the left-handed ones.
Yeah, something like
Right-handed.
that. You might want to make up, either use one that you've got or make up one like it and show yourself the process. So when you see a question, you say, oh yeah, tree diagram. How do you do the branches? How do you get the next branch? What do the things at the end mean? How do you get the things at the end? And anything else that would help to refresh, that would be a good thing. Some people write down like a little lexicon. Mutually exclusive means, right? Stratified sampling means, and what, you know, because there are questions that basically tell you a story and then they give you 4 to 5 choices, and it could be, you know, what is the placebo effect, you know, or here is a story, tell me what it's telling you. You know, they give you 5 explanations of what it might mean, but only one is correct.
And so right now, going back, it only has the ones that we need to do, right? Because the second the week is over that you're supposed to do them, they disappear off of the yeah. Is there a way
They won't disappear forever. They will come back again.
Okay.
After the midterm's finished. They'll come back on Tuesday probably.
Okay, so there's not a way to access them to like look through and study them?
You can, oh, you mean the previous stuff?
Yeah.
I thought there was. Are you telling me you can't see stuff that's gone by?
Well, I couldn't when I was looking at it the other day because I figured I would look and see kind of which type of.
That I would do. So if that's the case, then I'll take a note to myself to do it. I mean, it's not difficult. All I need to do is view until. So have you got anything at the top that says, oh, there you go, there's 2.
I think if yeah.
It's there.
It's just because I asked you, then I saw the button that says past assignments.
Okay, there you go.
Right here.
So it is there, hit past assignments, and you can see that will be available up until, well, I'm not sure if I'll be awake at that time, but certainly by Monday morning, if not Sunday midnight, it will then just go ding, disappear.
Well, because that would be a good one to go in and maybe just on a separate piece of paper, just take like notes and saying, oh, quantitative, this means.
Yeah,